And as soon as I push record, we can go to it like they do it when they do it.
Fakakta Comedy Funhouse Network. Welcome, all of my friends, to Couch Pilots, the podcast. It's the show that dares to fly into the unknown territory of awful television pilots of the past. My name is Jason. I am the Bottle Cap Kid, and across from me is Philip Restisher. Philip, how are you today?
I am doing wonderful. You look healthy.
Yep.
You look excited. You look like you're ready to fly.
I'm full of vim.
Vim.
I've heard of vigor before.
Yeah,
Vigor. But what is vim?
Vim is, when you open that can of Vigor.
Sure.
There's that fizz that comes like the head. That's what that is.
Vim is the head on Vigor?
Yep. It's crazy. I know stuff.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You really do. You got a few years on me. It is showing in droves right now.
I was hanging out with John.
Tarmac John.
That guy is a wealth of knowledge. If you can figure out, if you have the patience to stand there for long enough, he has amazing.
Well, he's got a mean stutter, so you really do have to have patience in order to get through even just a couple sentences.
Sure.
And every person that I know, and we talked about nerds, I think, on our last episode, talking about the nerd. Everyone nerds out on something, has knowledge on a particular subject that they enjoy. What did you get out of your conversation with John? What is something that he enjoys that you were able to...
Led Zeppelin. I mean, the dude, he knows everything about Robert Plant, about Jimmy Page.
Do you notice he calls him James? Do you notice when he
James
calls him,
Page?
Yeah.
I think it was because of his upbringing.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
He had a very formal upbringing.
Yeah.
And he was learned to call people by their complete Christian name.
Sure. And I asked him the other day, I said, how do you get to work every day? Because, I mean, when we get here, he's already here, and he's already sweating.
First one here, last one out the door.
Yeah, because when we leave, we're like, fuck this, we're out. And
we do say that every day.
Right. We do this hand thing.
Yeah, we put it's almost like the sign to the devil 1980s hairband style.
Right. Except
the pinky shrinks in a little bit and we say F this, we're out.
Right, out.
And then he stands there with his orange cones to the side and then he salutes us.
Right.
Every day.
Well, what I do when I leave, because I always go over and give him a pat on the back, and I'm like, hey buddy, thanks for your help.
An attaboy for Tarmac John goes a long way.
Yeah, and then he does a circle motion with his cone.
Yep.
And then he points the cone to the pilot's lounge.
Yep, and we know the way, and we know that he knows we know the way. It's just kind of one of those little inside jokes that we deal with them. And
I love it.
He does a great job.
He is amazing.
I need to sit down and learn a little bit more about Led Zeppelin. I got to tell, what were we talking about right when we started the show?
Vigor,
yeah. I'm full of vim and vinegar tonight. And vinegar, I think I said.
Oh, so you're just trying to clean up your cooch.
That's right. I'm douching out this evening, just really getting into all the crevice of my body and
now,
just scrubbing them clean.
You had one sister, right?
Yeah.
And
no.
I, at one time, lived with my 3 stepsisters and my stepmother.
Mm-hmm. You're kind of the Cinderella of your family.
Yeah, it was definitely the Cinderella, but it was the wrong way.
Why, you were ugly? And all 3 of them?
Yeah. No, I was the ugly one. No. But I remember the Summer's Eve bottle in the shower. Weirdest thing.
I think time has proven that your body... Like, we've tried to spit in the face of millions of years of evolution.
Right.
And the body's like, you know what? All this bacteria and the majority of this gobbledygook down here, this is what it's supposed to be. There's
a reason.
Right. And we're trying to spit in the face of nature by shoving some of that stuff in there. I don't remember that. I don't ever remember seeing that when I was growing up. Or perhaps I blocked it out. I don't know.
Can we call your sister and ask her? Or did you think...
We could. We won't. But we could.
A couple things I want to follow up on.
On my sister?
No, your sister was very nice. She was a very, very nice person when she came and sat.
Yeah, she sat in for an episode. I think she just watched, didn't she?
Yeah, she just laughed and giggled and stuff. But she was very sweet. I talked to my mom about the Walter episode. We talked about temperatures.
I am struggling to remember your mom's nickname.
Blowjob Queen.
Okay, that's it.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. So, did your mom listen to that episode, or were
No,
you trying to clarify something from your own past?
We were in the car. We were on our way to go and have dinner at Gil's. And then I turned around and I said, "Hey, Mom, about the rectal temperature giving. What's the deal? When did you stop doing that?" And she looked at me very oddly, and she goes, "You were very young." I said,
I'm doing it right now.
She goes, "You were very young, very, very young." And I said, "I don't know. I think I remember. I have memories of like you doing it when I was like 8 or 9." And she looked at me, dead faced, and said, "Blake, there is no way I did that." So I might have been raped as a child.
As I say, so what do we have here?
Right. I'm thinking I might have been raped as a child. Which is fine.
Have you ever, and it doesn't have to be rape necessarily, but have you ever had a memory that you've suppressed and like something happened and your mind exploded and you're like, oh my God, there's a flood of things that I must have blocked for some reason?
I mean, I have constant memories of very odd things that happened to me as a child and things like I shouldn't remember. Not necessarily bad things, but just like I remember weird stuff, but nothing that like blew my mind or anything.
But potentially you were raped as a child.
Yeah, potentially.
Uh-oh. Any culprits? Do you know who this was?
The list goes on and on.
The potential rape suspect.
I was left alone a lot as a child.
Oh, boy. Do you think maybe you raped yourself? Do you think maybe you, being left alone, that you...
No, but I do know when I would stay home from school when I was sick, because my mom, there was nobody to watch me, so I would stay home. I would go through a whole loaf of bread. What I would do is I would take cookie cut. I would make a peanut butter sandwich.
Yeah.
And then I take cookie cutters.
White Wonder Bread.
We were poor, so it was like the yellow and black label white bread.
Okay.
But I would put a lot because I like a lot of peanut butter. I don't like any jelly.
No jelly.
And then I would take cookie cutters.
Sure. And
I would smash them and cut so that I would have things. So I wasted a lot of bread.
You went through a whole loaf of bread.
Yeah, she would come home and she'd be like, "What did you do? Why is there no bread?"
Yeah, I'm sick.
I'm sick.
Leave me alone. I'm sick.
Right. Another follow-up blast from the past. We were talking about Dance Party USA.
What is that?
We were talking about the dance show, Dance Party USA, on one of the former episodes. I can't believe you don't remember.
Oh.
But I got in
vaguely.
touch. I got in touch with the girlfriend that I had at the time.
Oh, you said it was like it was kind of almost like a little melodrama that they created,
it seemed like it. And because I went on, and it was very hard to find. Yeah. So
what was the story? You'd watch this with a girlfriend from when you were younger?
We would call each other on the phone and watch it.
That's right. Okay.
And I did get a hold of her, and we discussed it. Let's see. Here we go. Let's see. I'm so bad with this.
That's all right. It's funny that this is because I must have meant left some sort of impression to you.
Here we go. I said, I record a podcast. Had a flashback last night of Dance Party USA. Do you remember that? And what was the name of the couple that the really famous couple? She goes, I think it was Kelly Ripa. Kelly Ripa was on this show.
Really?
Yeah. And she goes, remember I wrote in the show and they read my letter on air. So yeah, we had a little bit of a moment there, and she said, I said, I can't believe we would sit there and watch that for hours. And she says, I know. Valentine's Day is coming up, and I'm sorry, this is
here we go.
And you're the one that gave me my first gift. I got a teddy bear at the hockey game from you.
Aww.
I found out she's an interior designer. She goes to Paris, all over the place in the world. But she did remember Dance Party USA, so I wasn't a complete weirdo.
Well, that may not be a fact.
Right.
That's That's so funny that it had such an impression on you that you were like, I need to contact this person. How often do you contact that person? If
Never. I mean,
that was just completely out of the dark there.
For her social status, I am completely for her social status, I am a complete idiot, and I'm from the sewers, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
And okay, but she was nice enough to contact you back. And
yeah, she did reply. She must have been her community service.
Well, that is very sweet of her, and we learned a lot more about Kelly Ripa today, I think too.
Oh yeah,
which is great.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captains have turned on the fasten seatbelt sign.
All right, so what do we do here? What are we talking about?
Pizza.
We're talking about pizza. We just had some pizza delivered, apparently.
The stewardess, Moz, which
right, our in-flight meal.
She brought us a pizza.
What a sweetheart.
She is a sweetheart. She's just under the weather. John gave her a couple pills, and she seems to be doing okay.
Now, these are some of the pills that John takes for his day-to-day pills.
Right.
What kind of effects are they going to have on her?
I don't know. We'll see tonight.
You'll have to, report back on that.
Shove a meta milk boner.
Have you ever had to take a pill to get a meta milk boner?
No, I'm still young enough to where it's all natural.
All natural.
Right.
Okay.
I think there's times that I probably could last longer, but that's not for me to say. She seems satisfied. I don't know.
That seems interesting to me.
How about you?
Have I ever? I have taken a Viagra before.
Really?
Yeah, and you know what? It made my my penis feel really just warm. It made it feel real warm.
That's weird.
I went in there because I was having some problems. This is probably 10, 12 years ago, and I don't know I think it's a psychological thing that I was going through. And he gave me just like a sample pack of a couple of them, and I took one, and it just made it feel real warm. It was real weird. I bet I was like 23, 24 years old.
Really?
Yeah. Right when they were coming out.
Did you use it in like the line of battle?
Yes, I used. I did. I had a sexual partner at the time in which that was used.
Did she notice the difference?
I don't know. I'd have
what does this have to do with puppets?
Well, we're getting there. Haven't you heard?
We'll get there when we get there.
Have you ever heard of puppetry of the penis? That's a real thing. The Jim Rose sideshow. Have you heard of that?
No, I haven't.
That's another podcast entirely. But oddly enough, Viagra and our sexual proclivities are not what this podcast is about.
No, I mean the way we were talking about it is like you would think that this podcast is focused upon that stuff.
Not the case.
It's
actually we talk about pilot television shows. The first episode of a TV show is called a pilot. And not all pilots become series. The pilots, while unused, continue to exist. Captain Rest Assure and I watch this trash, and then we sit down in the kitchen and record our voices talking about these pilots, and that's how you podcast.
That's how you do it.
So what are you eating?
Pizza?
Why are you eating mid-podcast? This is not how you podcast.
No, it's not. It's really bad, but...
That's fine.
Are you mad now?
No, not at all.
It'd be like two episodes in a row that you yelled at me. Hey, do you mind going back and giving the drinks to some of the listeners?
Today we dive into the world of Puppetman from 1987. Philip, what is the hottest puppet you've ever seen?
The hottest puppet?
Yeah. Or maybe I should reword that. Has a puppet ever given you a meta world milk boner? And if so, which one?
I would say Miss Piggy. I really think that she is an attractive young lady.
To me, the stigma of pig is so thick on there. I've never found her attractive.
Have you ever seen her with her legs? We were watching the new one, and she was up. She was up, suspended in the air, and I actually saw her legs. I don't think I'd ever seen her legs before.
Pretty good looking legs.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah,
a little chubby,
as a pig's have to be.
Right.
Any other puppets that you can think of? No. Do you have any? There's the one in the band Electric Mayhem.
Oh yeah, the girl.
Yeah, she's like always has her eyes closed, got those big lips.
Yeah, I was gonna say her.
Yeah, and I think the majority of my puppet knowledge comes from the Muppets.
Sure,
They pretty much dominated the world of puppetry in my mind.
They still do to this day.
Absolutely. And I'm struggling to think of a lot of female characters in general, let alone hot ones. She takes the cake, though.
Sure.
For me, it's the electric mayhem. I don't. What does she even play? The keyboard? She play bass or something? I don't know.
She plays bass.
Oh, that big Dr. Teeth plays the keyboard, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Okay, so she plays bass. She's got it going on.
Oh, and she's one of those earthy women. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's,
Talk about all natural.
All natural. You know, I'm sure there's hair down there, but she's in touch with herbs.
Puppet hair down there.
Puppet hair.
I think she's attractive.
Sure.
So this came out in 1987. In many circles, Philip, you and I are considered to be old, but how old were you compared to the release of this show?
Came out in 1987. I was 12 years old.
12.
So I was becoming a man.
Yeah, I was quite literally half the man you were at that point, as I was 6 years old. I think this is the first time we can say that, right? What is so funny about that? You just enjoying that pizza? I tell you what, you better get your hat on straight for this interesting facts section, because if you... This peach is your strikeout right now for the show. I can't imagine, like on IBWIP, one of us eating during this show and you like tolerating it for a second. I personally don't care. We're obviously enjoying it, and you're about ready to pass away from choking, but you're gonna get sausage lung.
Oh, that was so funny. And I was the whole time when I did that bite, I was like, "This is so unprofessional. I would never allow this on IBWIP." And then you said it.
I said it out loud.
Oh,
I said the thing you thought.
I'm sorry.
I know it makes for entertaining. At least I'm entertained. I'm not even going to ask you. I'm going to do it this time. I usually ask you, but I want you to jam that goddamn pizza down your gullet.
Let me intro it into you to like throw it over to you.
Okay, please.
Pilot television shows on Couch Pilots.
Yeah.
You better not do it. I will bite your hand, young lady. That was uncool.
The stewardess has taken the pizza away. It's your equivalent to alcohol in the air. It cannot be done.
Right. How do we decide what podcast?
Excellent question. How do we decide we are qualified enough to podcast?
How do we come up with these pilot episodes?
Well, I think it's funny. I mean, I know we talked about it, many episodes ago, but when we decided to have all these new shows part of our network, we said who has a specialty or a knowledge in this subject, and for Dustin, it was like, hey, I want to drink craft beer and listen to a lot of cool indie music and make a show out of that. And then Heather was like,
I like to have sex.
I have sex every day, all the time. I want to do a show about that. I said, great. You guys do that. You're experts in those fields. Go for it. And you looked at me and said, why don't you just watch some TV or something, you idiot? And I said, okay. I didn't really know I was going to have a show, but then you said, yeah, you and I will do one together, and you can just watch TV, you big dumb. And so I said,
really? Is that how it went?
The way I'm remembering it.
Okay.
And this may be different from the way you remember your thermometer action when you were 9 years old, but it's clear as day in my mind. So basically what we do is we said, we can't just watch any TV show. What do we do? We say, well, we got to watch pilot episodes of shows that were only aired once or only had one episode or never made it to air at all.
Right.
They've got to be free for us to
Sure.
watch.
That's number 2.
And they have to be available for us to find them.
Right, that's 3. Good job. So
we're doing 10 episodes per season of our show, where we go through the 1970s, which we've done. Right now, we're halfway through the 1980s, and we'll go to the 90s, and then we'll go to the aughts. And then from there, we'll see.
Sure.
We'll wrap back around. We'll do whatever we want. We have no bosses here.
No bosses at all.
So that's what we're doing right now. We're knee deep in the 1980s. You're probably asking, enough with it already. Where can I find this? Where can I find Puppetman? We'll watch this soul sucker on YouTube by searching Puppetman TV Pilot, or by subscribing to Couch Pilots in iTunes or your favorite podcast app, and check out our show notes where our classically blue links are waiting to be clicked by you.
Very good. Very good.
If you don't click them, maybe no one will.
And that's the thing is, we've proven on this show that just us looking into these causes massive chaos on YouTube.
It does.
Stuff goes out the door. I mean, it just disappears out of the middle of nowhere because, like, oh shit, the Couch Pilots dudes.
They're on the case.
They're on the case.
They're sniffing us out.
They're sniffing us out. We got to get this off of here because it was so bad. We don't want them to talk about us.
1970s made-for-TV movie into a potential series, The Tribe, R.I.P. off of YouTube.
Right. Yep. But you know what? I did my due diligence.
You did.
And I watched it.
Yep.
Before the day of.
Which I always watch day of.
Yep.
I want it fresh in my mind.
And I held it up. I mean, that episode wouldn't have happened if it would have been for me.
That's right. I was laying flat on the ground the entire episode, and you did all the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
And it shows.
Thanks.
Look at those muscles. 1980s drama, American Nuclear, starring a young Mark Ruffalo, R.I.P.
Gone.
Taken off of YouTube.
Gone.
We're having a cultural impact. Is that what we set out to do? Not necessarily. We just want to entertain the masses.
Sure.
But we're having a direct correlation to us and the altering of YouTube.
Right. And so when you see that blue link, click on it, watch it. Don't mess around. Don't click on it and kind of just go through it. You've got to get on it.
You have to get on it.
Flight attendants, prepare for takeoff, please.
See you later, John.
Later, buddy.
Look at those cones go.
Man,
I think he's drinking that 5-hour energy.
he stands so close to where the plane goes zipping by him.
You wouldn't find me that
Hell
close.
no.
No. He's got more
Man.
balls than but I literally think that he does have a third ball. So I mean,
really?
But I don't know if that has anything direct, again, a correlation to his courage level or not, but he does stand dangerously close.
DSJ.
DSJ for life. Summary of the pilot. Puppetman, a child show puppeteer, is torn between spending time with his visiting 6-year-old son and saving his show. Puppetman was a sitcom pilot produced for CBS, which aired on July 3rd, 1987, as part of the CBS Summer Playhouse, a weekly dumping ground for unsold pilots. The proposed series, developed by Jim Henson jointly with Bernie Brillstein's Brillstein Productions, was set backstage at a kids' puppet show. Fred Newman starred as Gary, the lead puppeteer, with veteran Muppeteer Richard Hunt as Gary's partner, whose puppet characters seem to have minds of their own.
Oh, yes.
And don't they?
Very much so. The unprecedented. This is an unprecedented situation, but for the first time in my Couch Pilots history, are you eating food? So unprofessional.
I just want to have a piece of this pizza.
I'm going to have the stewardess come and take that away from you. For the first time ever, I had my family. I said, family, come gather around the couch. We got this brand new television set. 55-inch smart TV.
Beautiful television.
And I said, gather around, y'all. Yeah, that's what I said. Gather around, y'all.
Y'all.
And Molly and Eli and I and the dog, we sat down and we watched this film together as a family. Couch Pilots brought my family together.
Just at a time when they couldn't have been further apart, Puppetman swoops in and saves
Oh, you
the
mean
day.
Puppetman further apart or my family?
When your family couldn't have been further apart, Puppetman
You don't even
swoops in. This is a joke. I don't want to get into anything serious here. I really wish you'd leave that on the tarmac with John. Okay.
Hashtag leave it on the tarmac.
Hashtag leave it on the tarmac. But yeah, I think this is one of those series that has the potential to save families.
Yes, definitely. And it's gonna my grade is gonna my rating is gonna reflect that.
Will it have as big an impact as if there was a buxom blonde?
Well, no, but when we get to the scoring part, if I would have had a buxom blonde,
Yeah.
we would have saw something that has only been done a couple
Gary
times.
was blonde.
He was albino. Gary was an albino.
We'll get into that. All right, next section. This section is called Interesting Facts, and we're going to present some facts to you right now. Then you decide on your own if they're interesting. I'm not going to tell you what to think.
Pardon me. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
The stewardess came in and gave me a dirty look, and I think it had something to do with when you said busty blondes.
Buxom.
Buxom.
Does she not like that?
I don't think she likes buxom blondes.
Well, that's interesting.
All right. Well, I guess she's going to the second floor of.
No, she's still down here.
Oh. Sometimes I think she gets. Sometimes I think she gets. How do you say it?
Buxom?
Jealous. I think she gets jealous.
Jet lagged.
Jet lagged, yes. But, she's my stewardess. Only stewardess I want in life. Like, when I fly into the sun, that day that we finally do our final episode where we fly into the sun.
Our final ascent.
Yes. Just like on, like on Wings at the end. The sunset.
At the end of every episode, they fly into the sun and die.
Yep. And that's, I want her to be by my side with you and me.
Okay, that's fine. I'll fly into the sun with the two of you. No, there's no other people in the world I'd rather, be burnt to a crisp with than you.
We wouldn't even get anywhere near close to it. We'd be burnt up way before.
I don't know. I think we would touch it. I think we could get to the sun and then touch that gaseous ball. Interesting facts. There is a ton of info on the show because the Muppets have their own comprehensive wiki online. I'm well familiar with Wikipedia, the user-based editorial, or you can basically edit it in any way you want as long as you are a member and it's legitimate. And for the most part, it is accurate, I believe. But other things have wikis too. Like I know there's a Star Wars wiki. You can go out there and just really dig in.
Just an endless abyss of.
That's right. Just a black hole of Kashyyyk and Jakku and all these different planets and their inhabitants and their systems.
Who has time to put all these together?
Some person with some very sad person.
God, they have never sex.
But there's never sex. But there is one for the Muppets as well.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So there is one. So there's a lot of information about this. Thankfully to that, and some of that is it's an unsold pilot and script were donated by director Alan Rafkin to Syracuse University's E.S. Bird Library as part of the Alan Rafkin video collection and Alan Rafkin's script collection, respectively. Both are available for perusal within the building upon advance request. It's also available for viewing at the Museum of Television and Radio. So there are places you can go and watch this. I don't think we can say that for any of our other pilots.
The quality is probably better, too.
Yeah, the quality wasn't great on YouTube, but yeah, I don't know if it was the original tape that they had or the original film was donated, and you can go to the Museum and the Museum of Television and Radio and sit down and watch this there.
That is one heck of a fact.
Agreed. Part of the CBS Playhouse, a launching pad for potential television series from 1987 to 1989. So for 2 years, this thing ran. And again, I think they're just kind of putting a spit polish on things that they were dumping in the summer. When you say summer Playhouse, again, everyone's out in the summer. No one wants to.
You said July 3rd, right? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's still fireworks that night, too.
Sure, absolutely. No one's watching stuff.
From now on, I'm staying home. Molly's favorite holiday is 4th of July. I'm like, no, we got to stay home and try to catch one of these
one-off pilots.
One-off pilots.
Created and written by Jim Henson. The pilot was taped on April 17th, 1987. In addition to casting real-life puppeteer Richard Hunt as Dell, former The Muppet Show producer and writer Jack Burns played Bud. I think Bud was the showrunner.
Right.
And not the station runner, because that was a guy named Mitchell, I believe.
Bud was the producer.
Oh, producer, okay.
That's what I wrote down.
Yep, that seems right. In a scene not in the shooting script, Zack amuses himself with a sock puppet dragon. Zack's the child in this. Made with a plastic cup snout and felt scales, this dragon is almost identical to the Dixie Dragon puppet included in Cheryl Henson's 1994 crafts book, The Muppets Make Puppets. Where else are you going to get these detailed facts?
Detailed facts.
This is incredible. Julie Payne, cast as Rita, had previously been a regular on the short-lived 1984 series The Duck Factory, starring Jim Carrey, another behind-the-scenes sitcom. This time at the animation studio behind a popular Saturday morning series. Muppet writer Jay Torres was a regular on that series.
Wow.
Really digging in. And again, at this point, I know in my mind whether or not I think these are interesting. I'm not going to tell you what I think.
No, I learned my lesson last time. You made me cry. I'm not telling you if this is interesting or if they're comical or if they're racially
charged
or anything of the sort. I'm not going to tell you if it's a cheap fact or an expensive fact. I'm not telling you any of that stuff. Because you did hit me.
Yeah, and I'm not sorry. I know you're over there and you're kind of crying directly into the mic so the listeners would know that I was. And I don't care. I'm not sorry I did that. And I know you've learned your lesson because you've not said word one about how you feel about these facts,
right?
Which is what I wanted,
right?
Which honestly, from day one, is what we'd agree.
Right? Because it's not important what we think of these facts. I mean, I learned my lesson. When your hand went across my face and your knuckles hit like the side of my eye socket, and I could feel the bones crack, like I realized it's not about us. It's about the listeners.
That's exactly right. And it sounds brutal, but you'll never make that mistake again.
Never.
Fred Newman specialized in providing vocal sound effects, a skill integrated into the script and pilot, as Gary provides odd scat sounds during the opening credits and supplies every sound effect for Dragon Time, from a cuckoo clock to assorted crashes. Michael Earl wrote a version of the theme song. And then I have a little note for me here. I wanted just... What are your feelings on the Muppets? Interesting facts section closed.
Okay.
Let the floodgate. Yeah, thank you. Let the floodgates open on how you feel about the Muppets.
I'm amazed. The Muppets have always been amazing to me that they could be so lifelike and they can have such personalities when they're just basically like foam and feathers and you know, it amazes me that like you could just see and like you forget. When you're watching them, you forget they're not real.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you see the like behind the scenes of like a celebrity. Maybe they'll have like, I don't know, like Meghan Trainor or you know, some pop star will come on Sesame Street, and they're talking directly to the puppet, and like even behind the scenes, if you ever see stuff, they still talk to the puppet. It speaks to not only, I think, people's emotional connection to these characters, but also the skill of the people operating them.
Definitely. When I think of the Muppets, I'm like, it's time to put on makeup. Mm-hmm. It's time to light the lights.
Yeah, I agree.
When I saw this, I was like, it's time to get things started.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
On Puppetman tonight.
When was that on? That was on in the 70s, right? Mm-hmm. I used to catch most of my Muppet knowledge, and this may sound a little sad, but I think it was on the 80s, is Muppet Babies.
Oh, yeah. I remember the Muppet Babies.
Now, I have seen some of the Muppet Show, and I've seen some of the Muppet movies, but those really came in like the 70s and the very early 80s when I was young. But Muppet Babies was like mid to late 80s. Mm-hmm. And so that was a lot of my knowledge came from there. I've since seen some of the newer Muppet movies, and I grew up on Sesame Street.
You were actually lived on Sesame Street.
Yeah, I was, Gordon the black guy.
Yeah.
Now, here's a little secret about Sesame Street for you. There's a lot of people who live on Sesame Street. Not everyone is on camera.
Oh, really?
So you go back and peruse the 80s Sesame Street, I'm not on there. I lived there.
Why were you on?
They just said I wasn't camera, like I didn't have the it factor is what they called it back then. I don't know if that's changed now, but Gordon lived across the hall from me. And we were good buddies. We played a lot of dominoes, a lot of dice in the alley behind where...
Craps? Did you shoot craps?
We shot some craps, sure.
Oh, wow.
But I grew up on Sesame Street, and I do have a personal connection with those people.
One question. Big Bird had that humongous nest, kind of like in the alleyway in the corner.
Yeah.
Did that stink?
He was the star of the show. You know, what can I say? He had personal handlers that would clean things for him. But, you know, birds are dirty creatures by nature.
Right, because they're filled with... like diseases and stuff,
pests, and it's little bugs and vermin. Absolutely, we had to call the exterminator out on more than one occasion for my apartment on Sesame Street.
You live by yourself?
Yeah, I live by myself. I was a child abandoned, and
you lived in an abandoned building where you played dominoes with a black man.
Sure. I feel like that was, you accept the reality in which you're given.
That's true.
Basically. So that was cool with it. Yeah. I turned out okay.
It seems like it would be I'm surprised that living on Sesame Street, you are so horrible with math and words and spelling.
I wasn't on the show. They did all that stuff on the show.
Couldn't you overhear when you were in your apartment?
Sometime I'd look out the window and basically the cameras were facing the building. So when I looked out there, all the numbers and letters were backwards from what I could see. So in my mind, it's like this self-imposed dyslexia that I have. I can't make heads or tails of it. So honestly, if someone gave me some math problems and I just looked at them through a mirror or something, maybe I don't know.
Oh, wow. That's intense.
You have to figure out a way around your learning disability.
Sure, right, exactly.
And that is my burden.
Look at John.
He's killing it out there. He's
he makes six figures?
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does. He makes six figures.
Philip, I don't make six figures.
I don't make six figures either, Jason.
He should be buying me D batteries. Wow, that kind of shatters my world here. Yeah, we need to talk to him, I think, after this. But before we do that, let's break down the pilot for Puppetman.
I got lists aplenty.
The last episode we did, I had like a page worth of notes. It just wasn't very noteworthy, pun intended. Puppetman, I've got about 2 pages of notes. Yeah. This is more on par with what we usually expect. The opening. What do you think of that?
At first, I was like, this is odd. There's like a van going down the road, no windows. It's got a bunch of puppet stuff sticking out of it, and there's an albino playing a banjo. And so at first it was kind of weird, but then they went to like the Dragon Time intro. Like they combined it. Yeah. And so then I was like, oh, okay, because I was scared at first of what you made me. I was like, was it a blue link? Yes. So Jason's not, leading me to some weird link, pedophile rape porn stuff. I was kind of taken back by the
a lot of the mouth scatting.
Yeah, the mouth scatting, because I like my scat to already be like out there. I don't want to make it on my mouth.
Right. You want the scat out of the body. Now you are. This is interesting to me because you're talking about being worried almost from the get-go about this pilot, but you've already assembled your family to watch it with you. Now, right? Because you said you watch this as a family.
Right.
So what is their reaction to it?
At first it was very quiet. There wasn't a lot of reaction during the theme, obviously. There was still some Game Boy being played. There was
Love Game Boy.
There was still some crack that was being done.
You say crack?
Yeah.
What is happening at this house?
Oh, I'm sorry. Crack is when you take your hands and you push them together.
No, that's not it. Crack is an illegal narcotic, and you're talking about using it during the viewing of Puppetman. Do you think that's what Jim Henson wanted for people when they were watching Puppetman?
No, I'm sure he did drugs. But, we were just cracking our knuckles. I'm sorry.
You are saying... Change the way you say that, because that does not sound right.
Okay. Right.
And was Jim Henson using drugs? You betcha.
Oh, he had to be on some kind of drugs.
All those guys were great. They're just a bunch of dirty old hippies.
Stoners.
Oh, absolutely. God bless them.
A little LSD here and there.
I saw years ago, before the Riverfront Museum opened in Peoria, they had the Lakeview Museum that had been there for probably 40 years or whatever, and they had Jim Henson's wife come speak there.
Oh, wow.
And I went to go see her, and now she's dead.
You were see her at her hotel or at the museum?
No, at the museum.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I went to go see her speak, and it was okay. She showed a bunch of old clips, just a nostalgia fest basically. And they had a Muppet exhibit at that time, but that was really cool to see her in person and to talk about just about the life of Jim Henson and the work that they did together early on. But I don't feel like a lot of that. This is more of. To me, the sound. I haven't seen the new Muppet series on TV, but it sounds like it's more aligned with that because you're talking about people's personal lives. While they're human beings here, I think you're talking about people's personal lives as Muppets, right? On the new show.
Right.
So it does have a slightly more adult feel. It's not necessarily really a kid's show, would you say?
This show right here?
Puppetman.
I could see a situation where adults are watching it and they are understanding the story and they can relate to the story. But I can also see, like Eli was, he was entertained by the dragons and the funny sounds and stuff. And so I could see both young and old watching it together.
So it's not like watching, and this dates me here, like SpongeBob or iCarly, where it's aimed almost solely towards children. This is more of a family show. This is on par with like a Full House or something where everyone can sit down.
This is one where you could just gather and say, hey, y'all, come sit down.
Hey, y'all.
And,
Sure. I like the theme because it seemed like a real theme song. A lot of these shows, there's no real theme, or there's, but it took little segments from the show and it kind of focused in on a character and it showed their name. It seemed like a real opening, and it was a little goofy with him. And I will tell you, oddly enough, the main guy, Gary, to me, looked like Gary Busey.
He did.
He looked like a young Gary Busey to me.
He looked like an albino Gary Busey.
That's right. And the voices and the little noises he made in the beginning, the scat we're talking about, it didn't help in trying to disassociate the crazy that is Gary Busey from this character.
Right.
Learning. We open the show. The whole series opens with an episode of Dragon Time, which is the kids' puppet show within the show.
Right, and the set kind of reminded me of Mr. Rogers when he would go
to the land of make believe.
To the land of make believe, the castle with
Sure.
the king and stuff. It looked almost exactly like that.
Yeah, and it was just that one set too. I
Right.
think it basically just took place in this one castle, and then puppets would pop out from behind the walls, or they'd have Rita the princess come in. Mm-hmm. The aged princess too.
Oh, she was very aged.
They could have done better there, right?
They would have gotten a better point for me. I'm telling you.
If they would have chose a buxom blonde,
Their Holly was the female puppeteer.
she was cute.
They should have reversed those two, and I think it would have worked a lot better.
And we'll get there, but there's a point in the series where has this constant conflict with Dell, one of the puppeteers who's buddies with Gary. The two of them are partners. And Rita at one point says, Rita, the aged princess, says, hey, you know what? I quit. And at that point, I thought maybe Holly is going to step up to the role.
I was like, oh, this is Holly's big break, you know?
And I was like, oh, yes, because she's younger. She's more attractive. This would play better with children, I think. Sure. And me, personally.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
If she's trying to get a higher score on my wing scale, then this is the move you make right now in Puppetman. Let's see.
It's like a show inside of a show.
It is. It's meta.
Meta Milkbone.
Gary's partner Dell seems to communicate almost solely through puppets.
I wrote exactly the same thing. You know, it was Gary and Dell, and it was really, Dell only really talks with the puppets. Even his mannerisms, like he's picking, he's making a grilled cheese sandwich. He's going to use the spatula in the puppet's mouth.
Yeah, he's very dedicated to his craft, and probably to the point where it makes him socially awkward.
Sure.
And so he communicates his thoughts and his feelings through these puppets. And I think that's just part of his character. It's just that's who this guy is.
I think you like to be a puppeteer and be that good at it, because he is one of the best ones.
Yep.
In real life.
Yeah. He's really part
I think
of
you
the
have to,
Henson crew.
You just have to commit to.
That's a lifestyle you choose.
Yeah.
So they finish taping. They go backstage. They're saying they're having a few problems, getting ratings, and they're worried about the show maybe being closing down. They maybe have to fire some people. While they're back there, Gary's ex-wife Beth calls up and says that she is going to audition in Chicago for a traveling theater show or something, and she needs to drop off their son, Zack. Right,
and so if you can just envision, they're backstage in the war room, I guess you'd say, of WGRF.
I did write that down too, the call letters for the station.
And so, he picks up the phone, and he's going to have to watch his son, Zack, but he's never watched him alone before.
Right, which is odd.
Never taken care of him, never watched him alone.
Now, I had trouble determining where they were.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if it was California or New York.
Well, I could tell you it wasn't California. And you know how I know?
How?
The call letters. Do you know what the call letters mean?
No, I don't.
Okay. One of the most famous radio stations out there is like K-Rock. You know K-Rock?
Okay.
Or so basically if you were on it's the Mason-Dixon line, the Mississippi River. If you are east of the Mississippi, your call letters begin with a W. And if you're west of it, they begin with a K.
Really?
Yeah. So I know they're on the eastern part of the country. Where they were, I don't know. Was Beth in the same city as him? I don't know. She was traveling to Chicago, so obviously they weren't in Chicago, and she was leaving to go there. I would guess New York City, but I honestly don't know.
Because it wasn't Cincinnati, because that would have been WKRP.
I was going to use that as a reference, but you beat me to it.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. I wonder where that was. You never got a sense of where they were, right?
I have no idea. I thought, somewhere there was cows. So, he was going to take him to a farm.
Yeah.
His Zack comes and his dad picks him up or whatever, and he promises he's going to take him because he wasn't in the airport. He did come in the airport.
Yeah.
Because the stuff they bought him, there was cheese. Maybe it was Wisconsin. We solved it. High five.
They're in Wisconsin.
Yep.
Well, it's just Madison. Say they're in Madison.
It's got to be. It's got
to be Madison. We nailed it. He picks up his kid. He buys him a couple things, including a cow bank. And then the showrunner, Bud, I guess, he comes back there and he slips him a 10 because he thinks he's the son of the guy who runs the station. Mitchell, which is he's just another one of those cliched, suited kind of D-bag guys.
Younger guys. It's like, hey, it's all about the numbers, and let's, I have a creative bone in my body. I'm all about numbers.
That's right. So, have you ever met a guy like? Have you ever not a guy like? But have you ever met a guy named Mitchell? I don't think I know a Mitchell in my entire life. I can't. It's not a name. Every year they have the.
I knew a Mitch, but I don't know if his real name was Mitchell. It probably was a Mitchell. I went to school with a Mitch.
That was probably it. I wonder where that Mitchell lands on the popularity of that name.
We were talking about names last night. Because we go see my grandma, and she's in an assisted living building, and there's Hazel and Martha and Virginia.
Sure.
You don't ever hear those names anymore. It's amazing, like from generation to generation. There's no continuity of like names that just kind of keep going through. It's like this era had these names. This era had these names.
Sure. I think a lot of those circle back around. Like right now, a lot of the names are getting crazy.
Yeah, people are just trying to be fancy.
Yeah, I know someone who I think their name is name their kid Rhodes or something like that. I'm like, get over it.
Right.
This is ridiculous. Just regular names, and I think they do circle back around. What old becomes new again, and there'll probably be some Virginias and some
kind of like bell bottoms,
Betty's and bell bottoms. I don't know who would name a kid bell bottom.
No, that comes around.
Oh, okay, yes, I get you. My next note in here was Holly is adorable and so is the kid. The kid is adorable.
Zack is adorable, and Holly. I was somewhat expecting Gary and Holly to kind of like show that they are in a secret relationship or something.
Yeah, I think that would be easy to do. Is just give it like a quick nod or something.
Right,
but
because
they had a lot that they were trying to accomplish, like last week's The Nerd within 22 minutes.
Right.
And I don't know, but yeah, they could have snuck in a little nod or something, or maybe that was something they wanted to build towards.
Sure.
There's stiff competition on the network and or on other networks rather, in the same time slot as Dragon Time. So Gary says, you know what? I can't take you to the farm right now. I got to work late.
Right. I got to come up with the next 6 shows. He had to write like the next 6 shows. I don't know, or episodes, I guess.
Yeah. So he heads home with Zack, and then Holly brings over the suitcase. And at that time, it would have been a perfect opportunity for them to say, "Hey, maybe a little kiss on the cheek or a little.
I'll see you later.
Little handy
if
or
you
whatever.
need anything, let me know."
Yeah,
right. Like if she just like knelt down and kind of disappeared behind a table.
Sure. Just and just.
I can put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, we're not stupid.
No.
We know when someone's being filleted. We can see it in their eyes.
We've seen it on TV.
I've seen it a million. I've watched Californication. Zach's mom, then Betty, they find out is hired as an actress in this traveling road show, and she says, "You know what? I think it'd be best if our son Zack stays with you."
Right. She's gonna be on tour for 6 months.
Yeah.
So Gary, Zack needs to come live with you. Next morning, Gary's making pancakes.
He's making pancakes.
Kid's like, I don't like. He's like, I'm making your favorite thing for breakfast, pancakes. Kid's like, I don't like them.
He's like, I'm a waffle guy.
Right, I'm a waffle guy.
So
Dad.
what does he do? Like throws the pancake in the waffle iron
right.
and like squashes it.
Yeah.
The next part, you got Bud as the showrunner, and then they have a guy come over that's Little Bud.
Little Bud is Bud's son.
Was that the guy who walked in earlier with like the clipboard?
Yep.
Okay,
with a frizzy hair, because he didn't say his name at the beginning, so you don't know who he's talking about.
Just by calling him Little Bud, you assume it's that guy.
Yeah, I think so.
But like when he comes in with like a brown sweater and fizzy hair or fuzzy like frizzled hair, and then later he comes in and to me, I thought it was a brand new character because not only did they not say his name before, but he comes in like this real flashy yellow outfit. And I was like, this doesn't even, to me, it didn't even register that it was the same character until just now. But it was odd. It was like, it almost seemed like an unnecessary character or an unnecessary person to add in the mix to me.
Well, I think it was a situation where when they were writing it, they had to get this kid to the farm.
Yeah.
We can't have any of these other characters go because
they're all working on the show.
They're all working on this really important.
Maybe so. So he takes his boy Zack to the farm. Back at the studio, Rita is dressed like a whore.
And I wrote exactly that. Of course, Dell starts ripping her instantly.
Yeah.
Well,
she's dressed in a black dress, I think revealing a lot of cleavage. And again, in an attempt to boost ratings.
Sure.
What, are the kids at home? Like, oh, yeah, I love this cleavage. I'm
Well,
6 years old.
I was under the impression that this show was done in the evening.
You know, okay, yeah, because some of their competition were like bikini-clad broads.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, why would a children's show be on in the evening?
Or
Why
up
is it
against
up,
this.
yeah, in a time where there's 6 channels, 7 channels on TV, maybe a few more than that. Why it's just like why are you competing? Well, that's a different demographic entirely,
Right.
But not according to Rita.
No,
because
Rita,
her boobs are hanging out.
She was, and she was proud of her role. She was proud of her job, and she was proud about her history as an actress. And she's not just some
Buxom blonde.
blonde.
Yeah. So, Dell, Gary's partner, he's back there, mouthing off to Rita as one of the puppets. And Rita says, "That's it, I quit." And at that time, little Bud brings in Zack, who's got like, my stomach hurts.
My stomach.
My tum-tum, help me. So Gary takes him to the hospital wearing his complete, it's like, imagine Big Bird, but imagine that same size as a dragon. He's wearing a big dragon costume. He's like, I don't have time to change out of this. I got to be back here and do this show.
Right.
But it should be me taking him to the hospital, so I got to get out of here.
Yeah. And he, of course, he goes into the hospital, and the automatic doors close on his tail.
Of course.
Bum.
And there's that woman, the nurse who takes him. Anyway, it's a deserted, vacant land. There's nobody in the hospital at all except them two. And then the nurse just comes out, takes the kid, and goes, "Who is that nurse?"
I don't know.
Do you know?
I didn't.
I'm going to look into that right now because to me, she's one of those people where it's like, oh, I recognize her as something, but I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting that they walk into this emergency room. There's no kids crying. There's no people coughing and hacking. There's nothing. And there's no reception desk. She just comes out from the back room and just grabs the kid. He's like, "I think it's his appendix." And she's like, "We'll see. We'll get him taken care of." And she just grabs him and takes him. No paperwork.
Nope. What's this kid's name? You know what? Don't worry about what his name is.
What, you want my insurance card? I'm a dragon. I don't have a fucking insurance card. And I wrote that down too. That he didn't even She finally brings him out. Oh, he just ate too much. He threw up back there. And now he's fine. And he goes, "Okay, cool. Thanks a lot." And then they're gone. There's no sign here or can I have your insurance card? Or
hold on a second. I know where this is located. This is in Canada. Free healthcare.
Yeah.
This is in Canada. That's where this is.
That's amazing.
There's no healthcare. There's no. You don't have to pay for healthcare up there. It's free healthcare.
And dragons live in Canada.
And dragons are notorious for living.
Oh
in
my
Canada.
God! Just if it's not one dragon, it's another.
That's what I always hear.
The Toronto Maple Leafs were originally called the Toronto Dragons.
That is a little sports history there for you. Absolutely.
That's an interesting fact.
To me, it is.
Because I can say that because it's not that segment.
We're out of that section. You can say whatever you want. The nurse's name is Marianne Mullerly, and she is probably 70 years old or better now. And she has been in almost 200 things, according to IMDb, including Memento, great movie. Thank You for Smoking, great movie. The original Terminator, great movie.
What's her name?
And Liar Liar, not a great movie. Her name is Marianne, Muellerleile. And to me, she was very recognizable. But again, one of those character actors that you can't place.
Sure,
but has had quite a career.
It's a correct fact. Liar Liar is stupid.
Yeah, Liar. That sucks. Crap movie. Jim Carrey is always great. Movie not good. So anyway, Zack is okay.
Oh,
they head back to the studio with the TV show in progress.
Sorry, cut. I apologize.
Fine.
So they take the kid back. The nurse takes the kid back. What's the first thing that Gary does? He goes over and turns on the TV to see, because I guess this is a live show. So he turns it on there live, and they're singing "You Are My Sunshine." Dell and Rita are singing together.
And Dell hates it.
Dell hates every second of it. And I just thought this would be a good time for us to sing "You Are My Sunshine."
Oh, I'm going to let you take the lead on that. I know some of the words, but I will follow suit.
Okay. All right.
Now, do we want to sing them as characters from the show or as ourselves?
Ourselves.
Okay.
Can you... You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray.
When skies are gray.
You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
Sunshine away.
I feel great. I feel great. We should start the show with that.
You know what? We didn't plan to do that. Like, you may have thought about that before. We didn't plan. I didn't know what was going to happen. I did not like going into it. I feel great having done it. I feel great having done it. Thank you very much.
No, thank you.
So that they are they're singing that song. Dell does not care for Rita, so he's very distastefully singing it, and he's like, why am I doing this? It sucks. After the show, Gary runs back to the show already in progress, and then after the show, Gary uses the puppets to talk to his son about staying with him.
Right, because up until this point, he hadn't had a conversation, and he told Holly, he's like, I don't think he wants to live with me.
So there's only one way to find out.
And I'm like, wait a minute. Your ex-wife is going to go travel as an actress. You're his father.
Yep.
He doesn't have a say in it.
Right.
Since when does a 6-year-old kid have a say in who he lives with?
Yeah, it'd be like,
it's not Kramer versus Kramer.
like, hey, do you want to live with me? And what if the kid was like, no? It's like, okay, go
to Sesame Street, obviously.
You can't live with your mom. We're going to have to banish you to 123 Sesame Street. Great address, by the way.
Yeah.
So he does, and Zack says he wants to stay.
Well, you just kind of, and this is the difference between me and you.
Well, I'm also looking at the clock.
All right, but I don't want to go past. I don't want to skip past this.
Okay.
So one of the dragon characters, the baby dragon, his name is Candle.
Candle. Okay.
So you get it, like, a dragon, just a little fire would be a
yeah,
candle.
because one of them is named Butane too.
Right.
I think.
And the voice that Candle has is the exact same voice that Molly is known for, her squirrel voice.
Oh, okay.
It's the most annoying voice to do, and she does it, and she's been teaching Eli as he's growing older this voice, and I can't even do it. But it's this little dragon Candle is exactly the same way.
I felt like that voice was very similar to a guest on IBWIP recently, Baby New Year.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Molly found that very cute, and so then she started doing the squirrel voice.
Aw.
But I as a father, this was a little bit of a touching moment for me.
Yeah.
I as somebody who wishes his son was living with him, I wish I had the opportunity to have this happen, and it was very neat because the kid's like, of course I want to live with him, but I don't think he wants me to live in with him. He's like, why not? He's like, because he doesn't have time for me or something like that. But and then there was the yes, I do want to live with him. And then Gary stands up. I don't know if the kid knew or not that his dad was the one doing the voice right behind him. And they hug, and they live together. And I know it went well. I know it was successful.
In a different timeline, perhaps that show lasted for a few seasons, and we got to see the evolution of those characters and their relationship. But it wasn't meant to be. So maybe you and I should write some fan fiction about where that went.
I think that would be awesome. And we can reenact it, and Molly can play the role of Candle,
the squirrel voice. There's two things I want to mention. First of all, that kid was a pretty decent actor. I think, because he really probably was like 6 or 7, and he was delivering lines of dialogue,
of an emotional dialogue.
Right. I think that kid did a pretty good job. 2, you had mentioned you wishing one of your sons to live with you. The other day, you sent me a text, and you said, "Hey, we're heading up to wherever it was up north to pick up G." And for a second, I was like, "What is G?" And I was thinking, my brother calls weed green. Green begins with a G, and I was thinking, why is he traveling so far to buy weed?
I love that Wisconsin weed.
But that was not the case.
I thought I've always called him that. I thought you knew that.
What's the furthest you've gone to buy weed?
I'm just glad that the dad and Zack are going to live together.
Well, I'm just glad weed is so local, and we don't have to go far for it. Not that I indulge personally, or that you do. I'm just saying, it is available to us, not unlike this pilot,
Right.
locally.
Right.
So, with that said, let's listen to one of the promos for another great show right here on the FCF network.
Do you like craft beer? Do you like music? If you don't like either of those, I hope you at least like laughing. And if I've still got your attention, the reason I'm asking is this. I want you to check out my upcoming podcast called Drunken Lullabies. I'm joined by my co-host Blake Szymanski and a rotating cast of characters. We do beer reviews, play music by bands we think you need to know, make you laugh a lot, and hopefully get you tipsy right along with us. We'll be bringing you a new episode every Sunday, and we hope you'll close your weekends out with us at Drunken Lullabies. We'll educate you on new beers to try, new albums to hear, and make you laugh at non-stop pop culture references and juvenile behavior, which is what you've come to expect from the Fakakta Comedy Funhouse. Look us up at fcfnetwork.com. We'll see you on the Sabbath. Cheers.
You know, Jesus turned water into wine.
Sure he did.
I think Beer Mansky and the voice Dustin, they turn laughs into beer.
I guess so. Drunken Lullabies. That's a good show. I like this show.
The highest rated show on FCF.
By far. And I don't know how they do it, because it is so... They can't do too many at a time, or else they get drunk.
Right, yeah.
So they...
Because we, let's kind of pull the curtain back. We do 2 or 3 shows
A day.
a day.
Yeah. So, honestly, right now, this is mid-November 2015.
Right.
And we've done 60, 70 episodes.
Sure.
And I won't have to see you after this, kind of long recording session for like a year,
Because we hibernate.
We do. Wait,
that helps our friendship.
for sure. A distance makes the heart grow fonder. So, check out Drunken Lullabies. Very funny show. A lot informative. Those guys dig deep. And they're starting to interview musicians, and they're interviewing breweries and stuff. It's a really cool show with some knowledgeable guys. So check them out. Subscribe to them. And enjoy that. Now, let's dig into some turbulence.
Please remain seated as we are now crossing a zone of turbulence.
This show did not work. They knew it too. They knew it. They stuck it on July 3rd. That's you don't air something in the summer. We've talked about that before. It's a dumping ground for pilots or things that they have to air for whatever reason, and it's just it's no good. And they knew it. So for me, I don't know, why didn't it work? It was, I don't know. What do you think?
I think the only reason, I don't know if this was what was their audience? Was it kids or was it adults? That's why it didn't work, because it did a very good job of splitting down the middle and being entertaining for the kids, all the puppetry and stuff. But they had a message, a parent kind of, an adult kind of message about taking responsibility for your children and how this guy had never taken care of this kid by himself was amazing to me.
Well, see, that's what I was thinking. Maybe Beth, his ex-wife, was in town with him. Maybe they both lived right there in town, and maybe all the time he spent with his boy was just over there with her.
But he picked him up at the airport.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
Because that was the only thing you could buy was cheese curd, like a block of cheese and a cow bank.
That delicious Canadian cheese.
Because they were at, he said, there's not much to get at a airport.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, and that is bizarre that they didn't spend a lot of time.
I think, for me, why didn't this work is I think it didn't work because I don't know what the audience was.
Yeah, I think there was definitely appeal with all the dragons and stuff to younger kids, and it could have been more of a family show, but to me, at times, it almost got a little too grown-up-y. Like, it was never took on super serious issues, but, there was some sexual innuendo in there a little bit where, if you take a look at a show like Full House, all the kids, they say, oh, I love Michelle. I love seeing Michelle. She's awesome. But you know what? This battery's about ready to die.
That's all right. We're gonna work on post.
Okay. Anyway, to me, it split too much.
Mm-hmm.
It was either too focused on maybe trying to get an adult audience or too focused on a kid audience. If they could have met somewhere in the middle, maybe to make it more of a family show, that's probably what I would have done to improve it. And if it survived, I don't know, just seeing the relationship between them grow. Maybe the kid would hang around on the set a lot. Maybe he would learn how to be a puppeteer. You know, him and Holly had a lot of potential.
Definitely. Dell and Rita.
You know what? If you went down the road where it was remaining more adult, then they could have had like a secret hate sexual affair.
Oh yeah.
How about you? Where would you like to see it go?
I'm in complete agreement with you. I really enjoyed it. I just, like I said, I just didn't get a focus on which audience it was for.
Right.
And you know, I don't want to rate it yet, but again, you know, he teaches his son how to be a puppeteer.
Yeah.
You know, they go on adventures together, and he, you know, obviously uses puppets to teach him lessons.
Sure.
You know, the father doesn't know how to communicate very well with his child, but he can do it really well through these puppets, and you know, the puppets help teach him those lessons of, you know, when to masturbate or how to cook heroin.
Is heroin cooked?
Yeah, you on the spoon. You put like
to like liquefy it or something.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you put it in the syringe. Do
get-
you not ever watch any? I've been to Seattle.
I've been to Seattle too. I guess you and I had different experiences in Seattle, I guess.
We sure did. I'll tell you off air.
Okay, thank you.
Had nothing to do with heroin, by the way.
Oh, good.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we start our descent, please make sure your seat backs and tray tables are in their full upright position.
So we're going to dig into some reviews right now. There's a few reviews out there. There's not a lot. IMDb score 4.8, which seems low, again,
low.
Compared to some of the things we've seen.
Very low. Very disappointed.
One of the sites I have not mentioned or referenced before, but TV.com has given it a 4.7. These are both that and IMDb are out of 10. Not great scores, and I get it. To me, the show was not great. Not a lot of critic reviews out there. The reviews that I did see from people were mainly like loving reviews, like people saying, I love the Muppets. I wanted good things out of this, but it just wasn't that great. It was people being very tender while trying to put it down because they love the Muppets, which is kind of honestly where I fall with it too. One of those reviews came from a site that has a podcast called Frog Kissin'. So if you like the Muppets, maybe check out Frog Kissin' because it is I think they're about 17 episodes in, and I think they release one a week, and I haven't heard it myself, but I might check it out. I think it's a couple girls talk about different subjects of the Muppets and their love of the Muppets.
Huh.
So they might mention Puppetman somewhere within their podcast.
I wonder if they're single.
Only one way to find out.
I'll email.
Hashtag frog kissing.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to FCF Airport. Local time is 11:11 and the temperature is 69 degrees. For your safety and comfort, please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the captains turn off the fasten seatbelt sign.
And another safe landing thanks to Tarmac John.
Yep.
Oh, I mean, he's earning those six figures.
I if I would have known, I wouldn't have went to flight school. I would have just went to tarmac school.
They have a great program here locally for tarmacs. I think John even teaches a class at the annex.
Really?
So yeah, I mean, check it out.
I wonder if he's including his teaching salary in with his.
Oh, you know what? You're right.
Well, we can go have a beer with him afterwards.
He does work
Can
part
he
time.
drink beer?
Yes, he can. He's of age. He has a part time job at Starbucks too. I wonder if this is all combined. We're gonna have to ask him to show us his pay stubs.
Well, you figure he only has to work for us once a week. It would be rude for us to just think that he just sits around the house waiting for life while waiting for the next Monday episode.
I suppose that is true. Yeah, he does have a life of his own and probably wants to get out there and do things.
He said something about McDonald's. Maybe he washes trays off at McDonald's.
Yeah, I heard the tray washers usually net about 6 figures.
Yeah.
So I don't doubt it.
Maybe sometime we should try to have him on the show.
Had Tarmac John on the show? Sure. I mean, who's going to direct this? Where to take off? Who's going to stand?
Right. That's the thing is, for everybody, our safety and everybody, all of our passengers' safety. The safest way we can be is if John is out there on that tarmac,
dangerously close to the plane.
Right. If he's anywhere, let's say he's in the cockpit with us, talking to us.
Would you and I have a great time talking to him?
Oh,
absolutely,
yes, we
absolutely.
would.
But would we be safe?
Nope.
No. And you know what? Sometimes that's a gamble you have to take if you want to talk to John. His time's limited.
Is it life expectancy less?
People with Down syndrome do not live quite as long, but I just mean he's got things he has to do. He's got other obligations. His part-time Starbucks job, the other obligations in his life.
He's got Poontang to the left.
Right, and perhaps, depending on which way those cones are going, perhaps to the right. Let's grade this thing and be done with it. 1 out of 7, the Wings scoring system. What do you give this?
I'm giving it a 5.
Are you really?
I really liked it. I really thought it was. I mean, we completely combed through it.
Yeah.
I felt good when I watched it. It was a good feeling show. It kind of hit me close to home. I looked over and my wife was still awake, which is very rare. And Eli was watching it, and I just thought, you know what? 5.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Good score. I can't.
What is a 5?
Number 5 is a Lowell Mather.
Yep.
So that 5 out of using the Wing scoring system, out of 7, I guess.
Remember how cute Holly was.
I'll give it a 4.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it a Joe Hackett right below that.
All right, I'm not gonna hit you for that.
Thank you. That's right in the middle. I don't know. It's not terrible, but it wasn't very good either. And again, a lot of these things, you never know. People rarely have their footing in the first episode, sometimes not even the first season.
Sure.
So it's tough to say how much potential this could have.
And it might have crashed. It might have been bad. It might have gotten worse and worse. But this first episode, the subject matter and everything, like I said, it just,
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I thought it was okay. I wouldn't necessarily recommend people watching it, but I'm not going to tell you I hate it either. Anyway.
Frog Kissin', is that Kissin?
IN apostrophe. That's right.
There's an apostrophe?
Kissin'.
Anytime what the hell's their website then? How you can't have apostrophe on the website?
No, the website was called something else. I think that we can look that up later. I can't remember exactly what it's called.
Sorry, just trying to give them a plug.
Oh well, no, we'll check. Go to iTunes and check out and put in Frog Kissin'. Right. I'm sure it'll pop up. What have they ever done for us? Who cares? we plug them.
It's never what have they done. It's what will they do.
What will they do to us? Let's get some pictures of these girls first. Right into the mic. It's like letting the air out of a balloon.
Oh, you make me laugh so much sometimes.
We're done with that one. I'm done. Let's close the books on Puppet Man. I have nothing more to say, but please, we're not done as a whole. Join us next time as we watch the pilot episode of Tim Burton's Hansel and Gretel. Here's a little something to wet your whistle. Tim Burton's Hansel and Gretel is a live-action, stop-motion animated film short featuring Japanese actors and striking set designs reminiscent of his later work in films such as Beetlejuice and Edward Scissorhands. While this film was created during Tim Burton's employment at Disney Feature Animation, his stop-motion work began with the short film Vincent and continues today with the recent Tim Burton's The Corpse Bride. His 2D animation work, while with Disney, included The Fox and the Hound and The Black Cauldron. Those are some good facts.
Yes, very good. Hey, did you just... God bless America. How is it possible that you did that?
Did what? You
said good facts. It's not your place.
This is not the interesting facts section.
Oh, true. My bad.
So check that out. If you got questions for us, hit us up at CouchPilotsPodcast@gmail.com. Check us out on Twitter. Check out our Facebook page. Follow us. Find out what's coming down the pike. check out all of our blue links. You can watch what we've watched, even if we don't advise you to do that. It's still available to be seen for the most part. I don't think there's anything we've done besides The Tribe. We caught American Nuclear in time to where we were able to watch a different show instead, but I think The Tribe is the only one that is currently no longer available.
Yes.
Go to fcfnetwork.com. That's our home. That's our hub where all of the great shows in the FCF network, that's where they call home. You got Drunken Lullaby, Sex with Heather, the song Inside Out, S&M Radio, IBWIP, and now Low Blow Podcast. All these great shows are all for free. They come out every week. You get to listen to these great programs.
I mean, you're gonna find something that you like.
Yeah,
you might like one, you might like four.
If you're like me, you've got a bunch of podcasts you subscribe to. You're usually searching for the next one to pop up because you got to fill some time either in the car, on the treadmill, in the pooper. If you're in the cubicle at work and you just got to kill some time, you want to listen to something, boom, subscribe to our show. You get an hour's worth of content every week, and if you subscribe to all of our shows, you get 7 hours a week.
Right.
So enjoy that. It's
a
all free.
win-win situation for everyone.
No one loses here.
Nope. And we are very, very available on social media.
Sure.
Couch Pilots has a Facebook page. Fakakta Comedy Funhouse has an FCF Network has a Facebook page.
Yep.
FCF Network has a Twitter.
Yep.
Couch Pilots, us, we have a Twitter, Couch Pilots Pod. Definitely tweet us, follow us, tweet us.
Tweet us, for sure.
You know what would really help is retweet when we send out a link to one of the new episodes.
Yeah. Share it with people. That's the best thing you can do for us is share it with people.
Share like you would share your wife.
I don't know what that means. There's secrets about marriage I'm not aware of. Do you? Is there anything else you want to add? Any secrets of marriage or anything else?
Oh, secrets of marriage. Hit them when they're sleeping.
Hit them when they're sleeping. Wow. And with that, this pilot may have been rough, but it's always a smooth flight here on Couch Pilots. Thanks everyone, and we will see you next time.
Love you guys.
On behalf of Couch Pilots and the entire crew, we'd like to thank you for joining us on this trip, and we are looking forward to seeing you on board again in the near future. Have a nice day.
This has been a Fakakta Comedy Funhouse production, produced by Jason Tosher, executive produced by Blake Clayton. For more information and content, go to fcfnetwork.com.